Hey everyone, welcome to the Assassination of Primarch Magli Blackice, one of our games that we play on this channel that are all linked in the same world. These characters are pretty cool, and I like this group. This is the first group in the world. They are pretty cool and fun, and get that special first group privilege, as Sarah just demonstrated perfectly with her hair flip. It was fantastic. Um, we've got some bookkeeping stuff to do, I believe. Beliefs? Is it springing it on you? Are you ready? Is that fair of me? Let's start with Faye. Faye,
Sure.
how's Juniper doing?
Oh, she's living. So let's see. Juno's belief, she still needs to I think it's still the undergoing one with the plague subplot, I think.
Okay.
She wants to try to track down which temple had the most victims earliest on, and to try to sort of track it down and see where the first few cases were.
Sure. You want to find the source of the plague? Works for me.
Yep.
Awesome. Thomas.
That actually is pretty funny because I was going to say that I wanted to have Thomas do something that might be a little out of his depth, which is he knows Racy pretty well, but like water sources are not really up his alley, and he's still working the plague angle as well. But you know who is really good at research? Juniper. So I was going to have him try to liaise with Juno maybe during one of the afternoons she's helping out at the temple or something, or one of those periods of time to try to, I don't know, try to use her, try to ask her for help with her resources to try to narrow down the source of pollution.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Make this a Captain Planet episode.
Yeah, that's a actionable plan. I'm comfortable with that. And Sawan. Hi, we missed you.
I missed everybody too. I kind of don't know what Sawin's belief should be because we did the 1 month recap, which was 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
And then I'm not caught up with the shenanigans that happened last time.
Fair enough.
So do we want me to briefly recap for everybody what happened off stream with Sawin, or
Sure. That sounds great.
Okay.
Let's actually do that right now.
Okay, cool beans. So Sawin's month off wasn't really a month off. Sawin took care of Oti and Josen, basically housing them. He spent a lot of time trying to, I guess, going back and forth with Masha to see like what could be done to repair Oti's hands after the fire. He was still insisting on setting aside part of his art council pay for both Oti and Josen. He went and salvaged what he could from their house. Whatever he couldn't salvage, he ends up paying for. And I guess like gauging whether or not she's reconsidering now that with the stuff that happened in the city, if she will take Sawin up on his offer to go to Terravest. But he remembers how she reacted last time, and he wouldn't bring it up to her unless she said something in passing, and then gauging.
She definitely does not.
Okay.
Racy is her home.
Okay.
And in fact, she's sort of she's accepting of the charity, but she's definitely reticent and resistant. She's looking for ways to pay you back. It's in her nature not to take things too like freely. She wants to find a way to gift them back to you or pay it forward or something.
Yeah, I think Sawin would try to make it clear that like he's not this. I want to phrase this in a way that doesn't come off as like really insensitive, but I think Sawin understands that like, you know, they just lost everything. and he would strongly encourage her to not think about like paying him back, because that shouldn't be the top concern of hers.
Yeah.
Um,
I think she hears that from you and like understands that, but and even agrees with it possibly to a certain extent, right? She does have nothing right now, literally.
yeah.
But at the same time, like it's still not exactly like in her nature to do this forever.
Yeah.
This is not a long-term situation, and she needs to find something for herself that she can then utilize to help in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Samhain continues to go visiting Masha Seasworn for the bitter brew that she's been making him. Continues work on his mental fortress. I think also in his downtime, he would be, because of the covering being gone and his experience with Tiss in the dreamscape, he understands that there's like a lot of deceased conduits like trying to get attention and be heard. And Samhain knows that he's not the only like living conduit in Isaim, and that not other conduits aren't as fortunate as he is to know somebody who can make him basically a turn off switch in the form of a potion, so that they don't have to hear the incessant noise. And I think Samhain would have tried orchestrating with Masha and her connections to do this. Like, he would ask Masha if like her colleagues are doing the same around Isaim to help other conduits, because
Interesting.
Masha would have, because Masha made it very clear the last stream that I was on, that you know, Samhain's like, you know, generally a good person and is not prone to making rash decisions, but all it takes is one.
Yeah.
To bring about the end of the world, and we're trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
Because everybody enjoys, well, not everybody enjoys the world as it is. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of problems, but like everybody enjoys living. Is basically living on the planet currently. So to a certain extent. So I think Samhain would bring that up to her in conversation when he goes to see her weekly, and seeing if there's something that she can do from like the alchemical side, the witchy side of things, and like he spends time maybe trying to do something in the dreamscape where he can try to lessen, because he's been practicing so often now, to see if he could like lessen the burden in other ways, like making them for McHugh and tell him stories about their life. And like he just spends time sitting, like he spends like a couple hours every day sitting at his writing desk in this dreamscape and writing stuff down that's like being told to him in the dreamscape, or giving them some place, like giving the deceased conduits like some place to like
to exist,
organize themselves and exist, and maybe experience the things that they weren't able to do during their life, essentially. Just to like give them an outlet so that they're not, like I said, just constant radio chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Samhain would like to, I guess like spending, I guess his belief would be, it is my obligation as a conduit with some knowledge of how my abilities work, to make this transition for everybody involved like less annoying
Mhm.
and less chaotic to deal with. So I think that's what his focus will be for today.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to see some of that in play. I'm very curious about some of the decisions they'll make there, because I think there's a lot of interesting and complicated decisions to answer there. Cool. Awesome. That seems like a great summary. And also, I think that sort of led us to a great belief. You happy with that?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Um, I think it is evening when we start today. The crepuscule, that hallowed time between day and night when the sky is illuminated with unusual colors, and yet darkness is definitively falling. And it's at this time, Thomas, that your patron returns.
What does that feel like? Does he announce himself, or is it a feeling, or like something about the tattoo?
I think it's a feeling, and that emanates from the tattoo, and it feels a little bit like a pressure where the tattoo is on your skin, and you recognize it as not a push or a squeeze so much as like an attempt at a one-sided hug.
Hello, you're back. Oh my goodness.
I have returned.
Thank the gods. How was your trip? Take a load off. Come on in. Make yourself at home.
Well, I told you it was a failure.
Oh no, I know I meant the trip back. Sorry, little levity there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. You're surely tired.
Yes. We have time to prepare.
So there's a reason to believe that this might be coming here.
Yes, in some form or another.
Well, we've already got pestilence running around the city.
Do we?
Oh, we do. Might as well make it a party.
Great. What are you working on right now, Thomas, when your patron comes in?
I mean, he's probably... I think if the crops have been failing, he's probably writing some kind of communication, like, to disseminate to the other temples to try to see who has any kind of druidic style gifts that they might be able to dispatch to some farms to help out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I mean that'll definitely work. You're in a position of authority, so you can call for that relatively easily. It's is there the right person around is sort of the question more than anything else. So I think you finish your letter and send it off, and copies are made and run to all the temples, right? And maybe an hour and a half later, there's a knock on your door.
Is Mercury with me, or?
Yeah, no, he's outside. I think you have him watching the door all the time now.
Surely.
Right. Yeah, no,
yeah, not to be a real paranoid bitch, but
yeah, sure, no, of course. Mercury will say, "Hey, boss, it's your assistant, and they've got someone with them."
Oh, come in.
The door opens, and your assistant, the spy, comes in, and with her is a lizard folk that has lots of piercings, all up and down and around their body, leaning heavily on a staff, but really not that old, probably like 18, 19 years old.
Mm.
And your assistant says, this person says that he was sent for.
Oh, yes, it's so good to meet you. Please, won't you have a seat?
He looks around the room and like peers into a corner, and then walks towards the chairs and sits down on the floor between them. His staff is now all the way up, like still totally straight on the floor.
Oh, that's a talent. This time of night, I'm usually knocking over everything within my periphery. Can I get you something to drink? I apologize for summoning you at this hour. Or thank you so much for coming.
Do you have tea?
I do. I certainly do. A few different kinds. It's a little late. Do you want something without caffeine, or does it really matter?
I don't sleep anymore.
Ah, I see. Personal preference, then. He's already like putting on some water.
Something herbal and strong.
Of course. So probably something minty that's also blended with raspberries and juniper berries, because they're very good for your kidneys, and the raspberry and the mint play really well together while still being technically a tisane. Bam.
Sounds great to me.
Tivana! What?
His tongue sort of slips out of his mouth for a second, and he tastes the air and says, "Smells good. So you summoned me."
I do appreciate it greatly. I hope it didn't come over that way. I feel like I misspoke just now, because the city in general would be very, very grateful for any help that you might be able to or feel so inclined to lend. The grain shortages recently have been a concern. We've been in communication with some farmers, and I was trying to find an individual such as yourself who might be able to advise us on what the best course of action might be, or possibly, if capable, travel to those farms, or at least one or two locations to help with whatever gifts are given to you or them or anyone we can find.
You are much more kind and less demanding than people who have held your post before.
Oh, you catch them all flies with honey and all that, and I mean, well, if I can speak frankly, there's a great deal of perilous circumstances that we're dealing with right now, and I think it's going to, personally, I believe it's going to be a lot easier to get through if we all do our best to help each other out. So if there's anything that I can do for you, certainly. I mean, we'll compensate you for your help in whatever way you think would be best and that we can provide, if you saw your way fit to pursue this.
I am not equipped to go against plague.
No, not the... Oh.
I could become so equipped, of course.
What exactly would that entail? Just out of curiosity on my end. I know so little about it.
Some sort of deal would have to be met and made. Much like yours. And he gestures to you. And you see that, like, he's looking through what you're wearing at your tattoo.
Ah, I see. Well, I wouldn't want to put you out in that way. I know conversations like that can become rather permanent, for good or ill. But would there be? So, forgive me for babbling. I'm trying to put my thoughts together. What you're saying is the same plague that we're dealing with in the city may be related to the issues that people are having with crops and with the current grain supply.
Blight, plague, pestilence. They are often related.
Of course.
We are a nation of water, and the water itself is cursed.
So I suppose in that case, getting to the bottom of this might involve looking at what areas have been most impacted by this blight, as you say, and starting from there. All right. I suppose, I found something useful that I can do recently to an extent. I think our gardener is going to come in here and beat me with a fireplace poker one of these nights. He's that sick of me, but I've been trying to do what I can to help increase the yield in the temple's garden resources. Is there nothing like that can be done until we figure out how to quell what's behind this, or would it just produce an excess of blighted crops?
One can do it to hold it off, to stave off infection, but until the source is defeated, there's little.
Of course. As it turns out, myself and some others within the city are looking into the problem of the plague as well, and I believe making a bit of ground. Do you suppose in the meantime, if we could locate one of the city's food sources that's a little more removed based on the trends that we're seeing, do you think you'd be able to travel with our escort and our resources, and we would just arrange everything for you naturally to that location and try to help protect at least those crops, to try to keep some trickle of supply into the city while we expedite working on this?
This is your will?
Is it yours? I wouldn't want to put you out.
I am here in your employ.
Well,
your will is what I will do. In this instance, at this moment, I have no eye. This is a tool at your disposal to be used as you see fit.
I suppose I am used to looking at it rather differently, but I must express my gratitude at the lengths to which you offered to provide such a resource, and you must certainly tell me if anything changes or if you feel less inclined to do so, and we'll work on another way to come at this problem. But in the meantime, I do appreciate it.
The snout just goes down, up in a very slight nod. I will search this place out, and I will protect it with all the magics at my disposal. Great one.
Thomas is fine. And your name is? I'm so terribly sorry. Where are my manners? And he brings him the tea as well.
My name is Tiri. Tiri Oldfree.
Tiri, thank you so very much for what you're doing. Have you been at your work long? And he's just going to make small talk with him while he enjoys his tea, if possible, and try to coordinate, like, when he'll head out. Will he need anything? Details like that.
400 years.
You don't say.
I know I do not look it.
No, that's all right. Most days I feel it, so God willing, or the God's willing, I should look as good at as you do when I reach the big 400.
Do you practice the druidic arts?
I have not.
I
It's
did
occurred
not
to me,
think
and
so.
no,
You
it's
have
occurred to me.
not that aura.
My attentions have been elsewhere.
These arts have extended my stay.
Sorry, I misheard that.
The druidic arts, they have extended my stay.
You do hear tell of people living past what might have been their natural range.
Yes. I have 2 old friends. Known them for a long time. Both much older than I.
I was going to say, do they also pursue your craft?
One, yes. But the other is just pure of mind and body in some way. He has never fully told me why he is who he is.
Well, you know what they say, early to bed, early to rise. There's a poem about it that's rather good. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but we'll do what we will anyway, won't we?
Indeed. I will search out these grain supplies and attempt to protect them with my power and reinforce them from the blight as best I can.
I promise you that our immediate efforts are directed on alleviating this burden. It's going to be best for everyone in the land, let alone Racy as a city, to knock out whatever this is. So hopefully we won't have to impose on you for very long, and I do appreciate your attempts.
I have plenty of time. Worry not about my schedule. You seem a good leader.
Well, I'm what we've got, so we do our best.
I am... unless you have further instructions, I will begin this journey.
No, of course. Are you sure we can't send a carriage with you or provide you a mount? I'm sure. I mean, the hour is late, but we can arrange something.
A carriage would slow me down, and a mount I would free, just on principle. You probably want the mount yourself.
Noted. Thank you so much. We'll hurry.
Yeah, you see the lizard smile, and then just stands up very elegantly, rattling a little bit from his various piercings, and turns and, again, leaning heavily on the staff, walks out the door. And then you hear Mercury say in your head, boss?
Yo.
You don't want me to follow him or anything, do you?
I don't believe so. I mean,
Cool. He just turned into a giant eagle and flew out the window, so I thought I'd ask.
Oh, fascinating. All right. You wouldn't want to finish this tea.
Tea?
I know. Something good for you. Gods forbid.
Isn't tea just leaves?
You're grounded.
Leaves aren't food. Leaves are what food eats.
I'm pretty sure half the city would disagree with you just on that one.
Well, half the city's crazy.
Well...
I apologize. That's not good. Half the city is wrong.
Well, pseudo-dragon opinions.
Mm. And with that, we will cut and let's go check in with someone else. Where does our camera find you, Sawin? Where have you been keeping yourself?
Well, if Ati and Josen haven't moved out
Mhm.
yet, he would be. How late in the evening is it?
I think it's early evening. Maybe we're talking 6-ish.
Okay, he would probably do dinner with Ati, and he would probably be doing dinner at this time with them.
What's dinner like at your house?
I imagine that like Sawin is just still trying to get used to. Well, I guess it wouldn't be that. It's been a bit since he's had to cook for more than just one person
Mm-hmm.
on like a regular basis.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe like the first couple of nights he realizes he made too little and only really made enough for like Ati and Josen. He's like, it's okay, you can eat. And then he's now swung to the other side of like the spectrum.
Yeah.
It hasn't found like the happy middle, because then he's like, well, obviously I need to make more, but then it's like what he used to do
It's for
when he
6
lived in
people.
Terravest, and it's
Yeah.
more for like 9 people
Yeah.
than like 3 people. So
Yeah.
he's like, so I imagine he's just like making a bunch of food, and and like whatever like extra he's made, he's probably just gonna go for a walk later and just give it to homeless people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you let Adi help you in the kitchen?
It depends on the state of her hands.
Yeah, they're still a little messed up. She probably should,
Yeah,
but she wants to.
Then what he would do is like intentionally give her like things to do that wouldn't require a whole lot of pressure on her hands. Just so she can feel like she's like doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's dinner. What did you make?
Oh God, you're gonna ask Jess what he made.
I'm just curious. We don't have to. We can jump ahead.
What season are we in?
Yeah, that's a good question. It would be the equivalent of
like late summer, early fall.
Yeah,
right?
late summer. We're early fall now, technically.
Early fall. Okay. If it's been on like the cooler side, he would have made like a roast of some kind with like a bunch of vegetables.
Yeah, so I think we have a scene where like Ati is like thanking you for the meal while you're all sitting at the table eating, and Josen is happily eating the roast and totally ignoring the vegetables.
Yep.
You know,
seems on par with like a 6-year-old.
Not me, but you know, most 6-year-olds.
Most 6-year-olds, yeah. Vegetable, don't know her. Yeah, so it's not a trouble at all to make dinner.
Beautiful. Okay. And do you work after dinner as well? Do you have things to do, projects to do, places to go, people to visit? You seem like a busy person.
Yeah, busy. Is it beginning of the week or end of the week?
Whatever time you would like it to be.
Well, I was gonna say if it's like the end of the week, then it's probably he needs to go take a walk to Masha's to get his medicine.
Is that a scene you think would be cool?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's do that.
She has an answer for him about the questions he's asked in the previous week.
Yeah. So you make your way over to Masha's area of town, and again, Masha's area of town is much. It's not richer, but it's much nicer than everywhere else. Her protective magics are like sort of meaning that like certain things just that are other parts of the city get dirty or messy or whatever, and like her protective magics just kind of prevent that or clean it up, or who knows what she's doing really. But their part of town is much nicer than many of the other parts of town in the second economic bracket that you would expect. But you make your way over there, and you open the door, and again, a little jingling, and Masha is there, and she says, "Ah, you're in time. for your weekly dose.
Was I late last week? I didn't think I was.
No, you're always on time. I was merely remarking on your timeliness.
Oh. Well, you told me that if I wasn't timely, that bad things would happen, so here I am, being punctual.
I was merely expressing appreciation. I meant nothing more.
Someone
no
will give
idea
her
how
like a
many
bowl of.
clients I
He
have.
would have brought her food, like
Yeah, of course.
like extra that he's made.
You have no idea, she says, starting to stuff her mouth, how many clients I have that are never on time. I book an appointment for 2, and I book my second appointment for 2:30, figuring that's a 15-minute grace period because the appointment won't take more than 15 minutes, and then the first person doesn't show up until 2:45.
I've had clients like that.
Enough to make people want to curse everyone.
Yeah, that I haven't had that happen. So
Well, we are still different people.
have you given any more thought to what I asked you last week?
Yes, you're looking for people.
Not quite in that fashion. I just didn't know if any of your like-minded colleagues across ECEM had similar goals as you in preventing things from happening.
I don't have many colleagues, and those
That's what I figured.
I don't know very well.
Yeah,
We don't exactly get along.
I figured that as well, but it was a question worth asking. Considering that I don't think that I'm the only one with my chronic association with the cosmos.
And what will you do if you find someone else who is chronically obsessed with the cosmos?
It's not so much. It's more. If I feel like if I hadn't been in the particular situations that I have found myself in, and knowing what little I know has actually proven to be useful, I don't. If people don't, or if people haven't had my same experiences, I have concerns for the world writ large. Because while I have enough information to make pitifully informed decisions, I can't say that other people who have my chronic connection to the cosmos can make at least better informed decisions. That's all. You had concern. The reason you give me the
Yes.
food you give me is because you have concerns.
Yeah.
So I don't.
No, you're right. You don't have to sell me. I think that. Well, here, and she slips you a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rumor earlier today. It was of a. I put people out. I told people that I would exchange my services for information rather than my usual fees. Information on people who might be at risk.
Mm-hmm.
This came in an hour ago.
I look at the paper.
Yeah, it says in small, very ornate and decorative handwriting. It has a name, and the name is So let me find it. Munsky the Flying. And Munsky the Flying. And then underneath it has last seen near and provides an address. And then underneath it says talking to himself a lot about stars and beings and the unknown and offers and deals.
Is this in the city?
Yes.
What district? Which district?
Docks. Though he's not from there, he's a noble. Or was. He seems to have recently given up all his possessions and moved to become a homeless person in the docks. It's like it might interest you.
So I know that you give me what you give me because of the state of the world. What would it be to you to add one more?
I'd have to know that he was salvageable. That it was better off that we just...
I would prefer to not add to the toll, if you catch my drift.
That is why I have offered this to you. Do you think this is the way we have dealt with this in the past? Anyone? Really?
Considering the sparse amount of information that there is for people like me, it seems that it has been this way for quite some time.
And yet you hear the voices in your head.
Right, of all those who have gone before me.
Yes.
Whether justly or unjustly.
Yes. You are looking for a new way, and there is something about that that I admire.
But you find it foolish.
I never find hope foolish. But I do find hope foolish if it is not prepared.
Do you have any other appointments this evening?
I do.
Would you be opposed for me to bring him here?
I would not. I will interrupt what I am doing for this, of course. But you should know, Samhain. Well, maybe not. Maybe later.
If it's going to affect what I do at the docks, then I think I should know now.
It will not.
All right. I'll be back. Enjoy your dinner.
And she had forgotten about it in the intensity of the conversation, and then turns back to it and just grabs a huge unmannerly amount and just pops it in her I keep on calling it snout, but in her lizard folk bill, whatever you call it, and just unmannerly starts chewing it. Beautiful. Juno.
Hi. Juno is going to... She might be a little boring. She's going into the hardcore study mode again, I think.
Cool. Always good.
But one thing she would like to, well, there are a few different subjects that she would potentially want to look into, but one involving the plague. So far as they know, is it just in the city?
So the plague is based in the city. It has spread to another city, Hille, which is across the water. Probably via actual transport of something, who knows what, but it has definitely been spread across the water. And then the surrounding environs of the city, there's some like farmland and mostly used for various types of cattle and the like that is suffering from a blight as well. But yes, it's definitely focused inside the city. It's much more inside the city than anywhere else.
Okay.
And even then, of course, because of the nature of these things, much more in poorer districts than anywhere else as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. What she might do, and I'm assuming they don't have any kind of like a health organization in this government, because if it's something she could like, stop by an office to get information on, that'd be great. But if that does not exist, she would do her own research.
Yeah, so the closest thing the government has to a health organization would be a collection of temples and clerics that say that they're there for the goodness of the people.
Yep, exactly. So she's going to go to Thomas's temple first because they know her and she likes, she's gotten in with Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like early on, she's going to go to his temple and request information on when people started coming in with this illness, like when it started and where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you roll an investigation check first and foremost?
And also not just because she knows him, but because they're kind of the most organized place, and I think they do healing mostly, so people would naturally go to them.
Mm-hmm. You don't know what Tamden is or does, do you?
Not really. She just assumes.
Yeah. Totally fair.
Why did I click performance? There it is. Investigation. 23.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you get really good and positive responses because Thomas's temple, believe it or not, super organized and put together. Yeah. So getting good and clear responses, it becomes obvious that the early records of the plague are like disastrous because it seems from your perspective to maybe have started in some small fashion on our long night of horror. It seems to have started almost right away. Sometime in that night, someone had the first symptoms. It looks like it started, the earliest symptoms were seen in a temple to the Akutsang. But since then, the symptoms have largely been localized, started expanding more heavily, closest to the Temple of Yemis.
Okay. So, is the Temple of Akutsang, is that, like, chill with Thomas? Do they hang?
Thomas, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, we go play a few rounds of golf. No. Yes. Yeah, we're pretty much simpatico. I mean, actually, come to think of it, isn't that Caliban's situation? Yeah. So I can't imagine he doesn't know at least a few people over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Thomas has generally positive relationships with the Temple of Akutsang, but it's worth pointing out that the Temple of Akutsang, like, societally would be seen as is the weirdest temple. The weirdest, like it's just in the sense of the smallest religion, the one that the least people worship and the fewest people understand, and not the one that people aren't like taught. You would never see like it would be very bizarre to see a government function that has like the Akutsang involved at all.
Okay.
You would see, they're the smallest and most out and unusual temple.
I think she'll visit.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So the Temple of Akensong, no one's been here yet, so this will be fun.
Really quickly, before Juno like skips off, like, can I like help with like a future thing by like giving her somebody to talk to, or like some kind of letter of introduction to scribble down real quick that might be a tool that will help her later?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to help fictional positioning here?
Yes.
That sounds great to me. Do you send an assistant? Do you write a letter? What do you want to do? Do you want to?
I write a letter, use a seal, not an animal, like, oh yeah,
Thanks, darling.
like the seal of the Temple of Tamden, like official shit.
Which, of course, obviously, we now know the official symbol of the Temple of Tamden is a seal.
That's not canon.
Fair enough.
Just big routes.
Seal lion? No? Okay, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I apologize.
But yeah, you've got a letter of introduction to someone over there that we know of. So
nice. Okay. Thank you, darling. I'll get you more tea. Okay, so I'm gonna head on over.
Yeah, let's... Okay, so making it over to the Temple of Tamden, your letter is an introduction to the priest there. The priest is named Luca Shredded. Priest Luca Shredded.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
He is?
Oh, no.
Is he shredded?
No.
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. So the Akutsong Temple is very it's a very intense place. Where the temple that you've been in the most is obviously the Temple of Tamden, which is very open and welcoming. The Akutsong Temple is much more severe. It has a lot of obsidian and structures that sort of jut out the walls in weird angles. And then throughout the temple, there are, actual like models of small islands and pools of water around them. And there's not really anywhere to sit or to pray. You do see some people praying via kneeling around these small islands of various sorts. Various numbers of people at various islands. But it's very weird, and there's a lot of like sharp, jagged edges around the temple in general. I think on some level it's a little bit off-putting almost, and you can understand why this is a less worshipped, whatever situation.
Yeah.
So someone approaches you as you enter, and says yes.
So she'll introduce herself. She'll say, "Oh, I'm hello, I'm Juniper. I just headed over from the Temple of Tamden. I'm friends with the head priest there.
You have a message from our high priest?
No, he is helping me in a matter of my own. Something came to my attention, and she's not sure if she should name drop that she's the assistant for Stepwise. I think she's going to hold that in reserve for now. And she'll say, when we were looking into the illness that's been running through the city, we found that a few of the first symptoms were discovered here. I was wondering if someone here could assist in finding out where the first people came from, who they were.
Yeah, roll a persuasion check.
Okay. 15. She's moving on up just a little bit.
Yeah, nicely. I will help you as I can, but I don't feel like this is a matter to disturb the high priest here.
Oh, well, that's okay. Usually it's the assistants who have the ground level information anyways.
So your question?
Yes. So a few of the people who came in the beginning on the night that the covering fell had some of the first early symptoms of the plague that is going through the city right now.
As you say.
Yes. I was wondering if you kept a record of who those people were or where they were from, so that I can try to pinpoint where this started and possibly find a solution.
You can ask around, I guess. I was not working that night.
Okay. Well, thank you. Where would I ask around? Like, who would I like? Are they wearing a uniform? Over the table, are they wearing a uniform? I'm not sure.
Anyone in all black will answer questions, I guess.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And do you know anyone who's here who would have been here on that night?
The High Priest Luca.
No one else other than him?
I know that he is often around. I keep not track of my brethren's schedule.
Okay, she might have to find him anyways. Well, thank you so much for your help. And she'll, I guess, do the appropriate little bow and try to find somebody else. Is there anybody who looks like they would have high priest robes? I mean, this is a pretty empty place right now.
Yeah. So in general, the priests are all wearing like black robes with a rope tied around their waist. And you notice pretty quickly that the different colors of rope probably represent different tiers or importance of worship. And there's like the highest tier that you see right now is silver, but there's like 10 of them. But then you see one person walk into the room, and theirs is black, black on black. And at their belt, you see a wicked-looking, twisty, bendy obsidian dagger.
Nice. Okay. So she's going to treat this like she would the library at college, which is quiet. So anything that I say is actually going to be spoken in a hushed tone. I'm just projecting my voice for this. So I think that she would just, ignore the other guy's suggestion that she should not bother the high priest. And she's going to head for the guy with the obsidian dagger because, the most intimidating person in the room is probably going to be the one who knows the most information. Ignore what she said before. And she, this time, is going to try to get his attention.
Yeah. So you walk closer to this person and you get there and you do a double take. Because the person in these robes is Thomas.
What? Okay. Squint at him.
Little fox. You have need?
Yes. Is it... I apologize if this is rude, but is it common for your face to change?
People see what they need.
Huh. So she's thinking, oh gosh, do I respect Thomas's opinion? She totally does. So yeah, she's like, oh God, I see him as an authority figure. This is like a whole, crisis happening in the background. So she is going to introduce herself as Juniper, assistant to Mellis Stepwise, and here while working in tandem with the priest of Tamden.
Does the councilwoman have a request for the Akut song?
No, this is actually going to be my own request. And well, she's busy, but there's a lot happening right now, and we are all stretched thin. And I promise I will not take up too much of your time. But yes. Okay. She's like, and she's going to again explain that she found that the first signs of the symptoms seem to have come from people who came to this temple. And she's trying to find the point of contact, so to speak. She understands it was a chaotic time that night. I think everybody was worn thin, but it's important that we know where this started so that we can know how to end it.
And you ask of this as yourself?
Yes.
Not coming for any of the powerful agencies that you are associated with?
No.
You have name-dropped both Councilwoman Stepwise and the High Priest.
I also went to college in Sonara, but the fact is that I can pass this information on to them. I don't want to stretch them thin, so I'm doing this work myself on my own initiative.
For your own ambitions.
I'm not going to be putting my name to it.
But those in power will know that you have made a difference.
I don't think that I need the influence with those particular people. I'm already close with them. Which may be saying too much.
Well, come to my office and we can discuss.
Thank you. She's thinking, okay. She is so uncomfortable right now. So yeah, she's gonna follow him to the office, but her tails are very bushy.
Yeah. And he sits down behind his desk, very severe, and gestures to the very severe chair in the center of the room for you to sit down at. And as he does so, his face, when you lose sight of him as he like turns his back to you and sits down, and when he sits down, you see Mela's face.
Okay, that's rude. No, she doesn't say that out loud, but she just kind of sighs and sits down. And she's gonna just ask outright, do you control what you look like, or is this something that other people are projecting onto you?
Most people see the dead in their life.
The dead?
Yes. Some see other things.
So if I'm seeing people who are alive, that doesn't mean that they're... Anyways,
they'll be dead at some point.
Well, yes, everyone will be.
No, but most.
She thinks about her friend who's a watcher, and it's like, yeah, okay, maybe. So yeah, she'll sit down in the chair, and it's very apt that he's like Mela, because she's thinking like, oh yeah, this is vaguely familiar.
It's very weird hearing Mela's, like, not Mela's voice come out of Mela's form.
Yeah.
Although the rest of his body is just like perfectly normal, his body. It's just his face that changed.
Yeah, this is very uncanny valley for Juniper right now. So yeah, she's gonna be a little on edge, literally, just like on the edge of the seat, kind of ready to just get up and go if she has to.
You have need of information that we can provide.
Yes.
And yet you offer to us nothing.
Not certain what you would need. I do have some information that I've already gathered on my own.
What information is that?
Well, one thing that I know that you probably already figured out is that this is potentially influenced by the divine. I have reason to believe that, what's the name of the god of pestilence again, Matt?
I think we just call him Plague, right?
Plague? Yeah, that, the god of plague has a hand in this.
It seems likely.
and that it's influenced by water.
Good information to have. You come here bridging Mela, stepwise, a councilwoman who is often, shall we say, placed in doubt as to her loyalty, with
How so?
Thomas, the High Priest of Tamden, who also is sometimes questioned in terms of loyalty. You are here providing a link between the two of them, a bridge of some sorts.
I suppose
I have no
I know.
objection to your actions, whatever they may be. But I see no reason for my church to aid you without potential benefit for us.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know both of them, yes. I take a little offense at the idea that her loyalties are in question. She is a loyal Celestrian and has remained a loyal Celestrian her whole life. So just as a, I can't speak for Thomas because I don't know him as well, but I know he also cares very much for the city. And of course she knows him very well. She's not gonna take all her hands, show all her hands right now. Anymore. She's already shown quite a number of them, I know.
Yeah, why don't you roll a deception check?
Yeah. So she's a little mad about the whole stepwise thing. 19. Okay. Sorry, Thomas.
Thomas may be a little offended by this. Yeah. No, he looks at you and nods and says, "Surely you can understand my position."
Yes. But if you're if your name is not connected with it for now, I mean, isn't this a little bit ridiculous? Like, honestly, isn't this a little bit ridiculous? Because these are people who are dying right now.
And so they die.
Yes, but we can prevent them from dying at a rapid pace. We can prevent the crops from dying. It doesn't matter whose loyalties are with whom, who knows who. What should matter is making sure that people are healthy and that plague doesn't run rampant through the city.
You seem to think I care more about death than I do. Do you know anything of the Akotson?
Not very religious.
And you are not from here. Why would you know? I bear no grudge, of course, but it is evident in your speech. Many, 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 many years ago, Celestra was not one place. It was many. Each island its own people or peoples, each region its own people or peoples. Not this unified thing we hold now. And tribes fought, and it was glorious. There was greatness in our people. And sometimes tribes won. And when one tribe beat another tribe, the beaten tribe would often join, cease to value their old ways, and turn to the new. But there was a tradition. Always one person whose job it was, whose calling to recall the old ways, the ways of the gods that had been slain,
The ways of gods long dead. It is those gods that the Akut song represent, not this Yemis or Tamden, but all the old ways. Death is just part of life. Another perspective.
So it's better to do nothing? When those people came to your temple, did you look at them and wait for them to die?
They offered something for our services. And then we provided them.
Okay. Is there something that you would need?
You appear to have influence.
To an extent, yes.
We have need of influence.
How so?
This city, whether you feel it or not, is fast approaching open rebellion. Civil war.
I mean, there was fire in the streets, yes.
That was nothing. That was chaos on account of a misinterpretation of a celestial sign. The gods are returning. In a literal sense.
Yes, they are. Plague, for example.
Yes. The god Plague. A defeated god of old. Returned to life. I am but one voice in the Akut song. But I will aid you and speak on your behalf to the Akut song here and in the future for certain concessions in the new Chelestran government when this is over. Are you even powerful enough to answer a request like that?
Depends on which kind of Chelestran government you're talking about.
The one that opposes the current one. The one that doesn't believe in a single state religion like Yemis.
Oh. She's like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, she's not going to, like, immediately calm down. But she's like, yeah, well, single state religion, that doesn't sound very, speaking as someone who's not religious, that can only be a bad thing. So she wants to see if he's serious about this. Can I insight check him?
Yeah, roll an insight check.
Because if he's just trying to get her to admit that, yes, she's part of something, 15.
Yeah. Boy, is it hard to read someone whose face changes every once in a while to someone to look like you want to be weird. It's hard to read people like that. Judging from the vocal inflection, though, this is someone who truly despises the idea of state religion and sees the marrying, like, to him, the most offensive thing that has ever happened in the history of his life is the marrying of Dawa and Yemis according to the state. You know, that is the most offensive thing he's ever heard. And like, this is someone who kind of believes in like lots of different gods should be worshipped. Like any sort of push towards unification is a crime.
Okay.
And specifically wants his deities and his understanding of deities, which is very weird, to be expanded in prominence, to be not one thing, as it were. He would love it if the Akut song was not one temple, but like 30, but is not pushing necessarily for that.
Okay. then she's going to she is going to ask him if hold on, I have to think about this. She's revealed a lot already.
Yeah.
I don't want her to reveal anymore.
Okay.
I think she would tell him that he was right about her ambition. So she'll say that you were right about my ambition, maybe not about the way I would go about it. Even if I weren't connected to the people I am now, who are voices of dissent in the council, I still believe I would be able to honor that request.
There was a party at Eastwatch near the Temple of Yemis. My citizens in this area were the first to catch it, but they were guests there. If you seek the source, it would be there.
Thank you. Of course it's Yemis.
It's not. It is one of mine.
Oh. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate.
I'm not certain you understand.
I don't.
One of the Akutsong priests heard the call of a dead god and answered.
Oh.
What would you like to be done with this person?
Is he still himself? Or are they still themselves?
She's still here. She still does her duty. She has a grace of happiness about her that was uncommon before.
Okay. I would not want to
You look up at Magli.
Yeah. Oh, great. No, turn that one off.
You see what you see.
Okay. I would like to do this without killing her, but I also know that sometimes in cases like this, that's the way you break the connection that's sustaining it. But that's not the only way that such a connection can be broken.
At least there are legends.
I would look into that myself, is what I mean to say. And I would like to meet her at some point.
Would you like me to send her to somewhere at some time?
Yes. I can usually be found studying at the Lighthouse bookstore on fantasy version of Tuesdays, which is going to be like one of the days that she hangs out with Alam, but not every, like she's not saying every day that she's there.
Yeah. As you say that, you see his face turns into Alam's.
Yep. No, that's accurate.
Very well. I shall send her there.
All right. And if you have need of me, just send a note. You know where I am.
Apparently.
Aside from that, like, I mean, you know, she's the personal assistant. She just assumes that he would know how to reach out to her. Well, thank you for this. The way that she says it is kind of like, not sure if she should be thanking him for it. I'm glad that we could come to an agreement, and I will not take up any more of your time.
The position of high priest in the city cannot stay with one religion for long. It is good that Dagmar is not of Yemis and holds that post.
Yeah.
But even he is susceptible.
I don't think he would let the power go to his head.
But you are his friend. He's testing. He's seeing if you will reveal that you are his friend. You've denied it already, so he's testing. So I think a deception check is appropriate.
Yeah, she'll say that she's just seen his work in the community, and she thinks that his opinion is not necessarily that Tamden should be the one god of the city, but that he's there for the city at large, as they all should be.
Perfect.
So yeah, 20.
Beautiful. Yeah. He nods and says, very well. I am wrong to press. And that's where we will end that scene. And I think with that, we will take our break, if that's okay with everyone. Then break time it is. We'll be back in 10 minutes, everyone.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you are enjoying the show. As always, we like to take a moment here to recommend that you personally take time in your life, take stock of your life, and figure out what privileges you have and how you can use that privilege to help and support other people who might not have as much privilege as you do. Right now, I'm in California, and so I'm very concerned about the many, many people who are currently being displaced by the massive fires all along the West Coast due to climate change. And that's where I'm putting some of my energy right now. But do try to do something, whatever that may be for you, whatever you think is an appropriate act, or spend time or money or resources in some way to help people. I think that one of the major problems or difficulties in the world is that we don't help each other enough. And it's not enough. It never is. But if you can do what you can to help support people who are struggling, why, I happen to think that's a good thing to be able to do. So please consider who and what and how you can support people who are less well off than you. Please also particularly consider all BIPOC people, LGBTQIA plus people, and economic brackets lower than yours as well. Okay. Also, if you're enjoying the content, please check out our channel, follow our channel, subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. It makes a difference to us. And also check out some of our other shows. We've got shows every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday that are all set in the same world. These crazy teams are impacting each other, sometimes in more ways than they know, sometimes in less ways than they know. It's pretty cool. And we're going to see some more of that, I think, in this episode, just in a second or two, if the right questions are asked at the right time. I'm pretty excited about that. It'll give certain people certain clues as to certain actions that they should consider taking. I'm excited about that. Also, if you enjoy that stuff, we have a show on Friday. On Friday, we check out different RPG systems, some by new creators, some by young creators, some experienced creators, some more experienced creators, just to learn the rules and systems and try to explore how to play RPGs better. It's a lot of fun, and we have a great time with that show. Right now, we're finishing up a arc of a game called Beneath a Cursed Moon. This is a game that was designed by the designer Carius. You can find them on their itch.io account. Also, they have a Twitter that you can follow them on there. That game is run by our Marcus, who is our producer. Marcus is awesome. Check them out as well. And it's a Castlevania-inspired RPG. I think that's basically what I'm going to say, Castlevania-inspired RPG. And we have a lot of fun sacrificing people to elder gods there. It's fun. We're having a good time. And we're about to fight, what's his name? Oh yeah, that's right, Dracula. We're going to fight Dracula. So, that sounds fun. And if you think that sounds fun, then come check out that show on Fridays as well. Yeah, final episode of that show, so that'll be fun. Okay.
One and only Vlad Tepes. You said Castlevania. Sorry, that's where my brain went.
No, it's totally appropriate. It's the right one. It's the right mood. I have a sinking suspicion that Marcus is just going to kill us all because Dracula is too cool for us to take him on. I don't know. Marcus can confirm or deny that as he wants, but that's my sinking suspicion, is that we are all going to die. Horrible, horrible deaths. Just a guess. Okay. Yeah, and next up we're going to check out Quest RPG, which you haven't heard of. It is a pretty great little system, and we'll be playing that. We'll probably do like a 4-week arc of that as well, so that'll be fun. Okay, back to it. Sawin, how you doing? What do you want to be doing right now?
I'm gonna go by Monksy.
Mm-hmm.
Or Monsky, excuse me. I was trying very hard not to call him Monkey because that was not the name you gave him.
That's Monsky. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the dock ward as a district is in rough shape. It is the most heavily damaged in our long night of the breaking of the covering, and also one of the slower ones to be repaired. And a lot of displaced people are there. A lot of them are coming out of there as well. We've got a lot of them are staying at the various temples, particularly the Temple of Tamden is taking care of a lot of people.
and it certainly could be worse off than it is right now. But that doesn't mean it's fully recovered yet or in good shape. Sort of the gleaming exception is that the government came in and very quickly built a brand, actually they're in the process of building a brand spanking new port, because they believe that they need trade in order to get supplies into the city in an effective manner. So that is sort of the only thing that's being rebuilt right now, and it's coming along nicely, and it's already partially in use. So when you get to the docks, how do you find someone? Do you ask around? Do you use magic spells? What do you do?
Side question: while I'm at the docks, how does the warehouse look from our shenanigans the other time?
Yeah.
Or how did that make out?
It has been burned to the ground.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Just in case you were curious.
Just yeah. Just inquiring minds needed to know about our.
Yeah, I will say that a couple interesting
things.
Yeah, a couple interesting things happened above table. Just for the sake of understanding these things, Primarch Magli Blackice was smuggling in weapons from somewhere else, namely Sunera, so that he could fake an invasion from Sunera to justify a war with Sunera. You guys sort of put the kibosh on that by preventing that from happening. And on top of that, but it sort of ended up unfortunately not mattering that much, because he then had the covering collapse, and that allowed him to have an excuse to attack the Kava instead, which is rougher in some ways and a little bit harder. Sunera is an easier target, so in some ways. So we'll see what that amounts to.
Anything to make this man's life more difficult.
Sounds good to me.
As far as looking for someone, so it's kind of heavily populated right now, like, because there are a lot of people here.
Yeah, a lot of itinerant population, a lot of people moving around, a lot of people searching through the rubble for things. Not really their own things necessarily, because most of that has survived has been taken out already, but searching for anything that they might find.
I think Sawin would grease a couple of palms. Like he wouldn't have brought like a lot of money with him, but he would bring enough that like if he had to like pay for information, he could.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Yeah, absolutely. You are easily able to grease palms.
Cool.
I'm gonna go out on assumption here that Sawin is not attempting to be cheap about this. He doesn't mind giving money to these people.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Then there's no need to. I was gonna. Yeah, the typical. Oh, go please.
Oh, he views them as in need, so they're providing him with a service, so he's compensating them for that service.
Totally fair. Yeah. The standard role here would obviously be like a persuasion check to pay less money, but you have no interest in making that roll, so let's not. So we won't make that roll. Beautiful. Yeah. So you are directed to somewhere. It's actually kind of eerie, I think. The shot that we see, you find yourself in a park that is burnt down. There's still a couple of trees that have survived, of course, but a lot of the leaves and all of the grass is dead. And in the center of the park is the burnt out remnants of a stage that you once performed on, providing a distraction for the people around you. It's not far. I think we get a shot of Sawin looking to the side and realizing that hovel over there, where two people are like trying to work together to capture a rat, is where Sawin used to do tarot readings outside. So there's a little bit of memory there. And sitting on the stage is a man. And on his head is a pigeon. And the man is appears to be naked. His back is to you, and he's sitting cross-legged, so you can't see really his legs, but his knees are bare and his back is bare. And the pigeon is like right smack dab in the middle of his head, and looking back towards you. The pigeon has one eye, and the other one has like a scar through it. And you look at it, and you see that its wing has been repaired in 3 places. One of its wings is like repaired in 3 places.
As if it's recently sustained injury?
Yeah.
Does the eye look recent too?
No, the eye looks like it's older.
Okay.
As you approach and get closer to this person, you see that he's got scars along his upper arms. Looks like thin knife cuts, but they're healed over largely. Yeah, not a good look.
They're healed. Like, are they also recent?
No, these would be older.
He was a noble, right? You said he was
Yes.
a noble. Did he have a different moniker before he went by Monksky the Flying?
Yes, that's a good question. His name was the Lord. Fuck, let me find it. I actually have it in my notes, but I could also just make up a new one and call it as if it was in my notes.
I wouldn't know the difference.
Lord Oceanswell was his name.
So he's only recently started going by this moniker. Well, it's been about a month since the fall. Okay. I would like politely clear my throat so I don't like spook him, I guess. But I also don't want to like scare off his pigeon either because it looks like it's a pet now.
Stop throwing rocks at my friend!
No rocks are being thrown.
Oh? And he turns, and you look at him, and he's got this like weird facial expression where like one eye is like open very, very wide, and the other one's like half closed, and it just very much like a weird look. His beard is very unmannerly. It looks actually less like a beard, more like 1 month of untamed growth. But he's bald, and he just sort of turns to you and like cricks his eyebrow.
As I understand it, you are. I'm gonna pretend like I don't know his new moniker, but are you Lord Oceanswell?
Am I?
Well, I was hoping you could tell me.
Can you tell me?
Well, it was what you were a month ago, as I've been told.
But is one's name's one own? Or is it other people's? For it is other people that use one's name.
Your first name was given to you by your parents, assuming. Like, if I'm assuming standard conventions.
A gift that was freely given. And one that I took.
But your surname is one you chose.
But one I've given to others to use for me.
Okay.
He now stands up and, like, quite lanky, and wearing a loincloth, hops down and, like, comes close to you. And he sort of gangles around. He kind of does actually move like a monkey. And he comes up to you and he, like, gets real close and says, I like your skin color.
Thank you.
Your marbled hue, it's quite fetching. You wear it well.
I should hope so. Other people do have to look at me after all.
So you seek Lord Oceanswell?
Yeah, I had a few questions. And I had heard talk amongst people at the dock. So I was wondering if you might be willing to spare some of your time this evening to have a chat with me.
What will we chat about? I feel like most conversations are about old friends or things that people have in common, and I don't know you very well, nor do we have anything in common as of yet. So I guess I ask you, what have you and me in common?
A month ago, as you're aware, there was the issue of hang on, this is Jess like trying to figure out how to put this without like I guess like weirding this man out or like saying the wrong thing to make him suddenly not talk to Samhain.
You know what we can do mechanically?
Yes.
We can actually what we can do here is we can roll a die to say
Yes, please.
that like if you roll a persuasion die then and get above, I don't know, DC like 15, I think.
Yeah.
You will not weird this guy out. And
Okay, cool.
And if we make a misstep in the conversation, we can rewind the conversation to say that would have freaked him out, but you would know better than that, or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll make a persuasion check.
So, yeah, great. He's not backing away from this conversation.
Cool. So the business that I have with you is I understand that you and I share a similar condition. One that not too many folks take kindly to when it's talked about.
I, forever and a day, cannot imagine what you mean. Are you too new in your body?
Not new in body, new in mind.
Well, I'll take a new mind if you're offering.
That's not quite what I meant. Is there any... How's the situation looking like around us? Because he definitely does not want to have this conversation.
Yeah, there's no one really around. He was sitting smack dab in the middle of the stage of a burned out park, and as a result, no one really entered the park.
Okay,
certainly
cool beans.
like off-putting enough that people back away from him.
Cool beans. Yeah. So someone goes. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not quite used to talking about this in such an open area.
All conversations should occur out of doors.
Do you find if I do something that would make me more comfortable about talking about the thing that you and I have in common?
Is it something that I must do or something that you must do? Because
Something
if I can
that
make you more comfortable, I will make you more comfortable. But if you can make me more comfortable, would you make me more comfortable? I'm not so certain.
What I'm going to do is perform a brief ritual that keeps prying eyes and prying ears away.
Magic. Go forth. Do as you will.
Cool. I'm casting non.
And he
cool.
Like plops down on this floor, and then on the burnt out floor, and turns around, and the pigeon is still on top of his head, and just sort of stares at you with one big eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I cast non-detection on him, and I've already have it on myself.
Yeah, of course.
So someone goes, that is all. So someone will like, I guess, get in front of him and like sit on the ground with him and go, have you been hearing voices in your head?
You mean my friends? You also hear friends.
They are more like question over the table.
Go for it.
I know that we have magical submarines, but like we also have we don't really necessarily have like hospitals in the sense that we know them.
Yeah, like a
And,
temple
like,
would be a replacement for a hospital, basically.
yeah.
Sure.
So I guess what I want to know is like, do we have devices that like play music, like music boxes?
Absolutely.
Okay,
How
yeah,
could we not have
because
music
like,
boxes? They're awesome and
well,
creepy and beautiful. And
they're
charming.
also been creepy. Well, like, because the music box is the closest thing I'm going to get to a radio.
Oh,
And
yeah, sure,
so,
got it.
Yeah, that was the line of thinking I was going to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't. Not all of them have good intentions, so I do not want to give them the title friend. They're more like
Do all your friends have good intentions?
many music boxes playing at once, and they all struggle to be heard.
Mm. There's a cure for that, you know.
How do you mean?
Is this a problem that you're struggling with?
I
could help.
It's not so much a problem that I'm struggling with necessarily. I had heard that it might be possible that you were having issues, because folks like us, anytime that we try talking about um, our condition, it either leads to us being used for the condition, and or being quickly done away with in a permanent sense.
So you're not coming to me for help?
No, I was coming to check on you to see how you were doing because, again.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
Have-
quite fine. And he reaches up and starts petting the pigeon on top of his head.
Is that one of your friends?
Yes. I was lonely. So I invited my friend in.
Your friend in to the pigeon?
Hmm?
Is it okay if I speak with them?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna try to talk to the pigeon.
Mm-hmm. Pigeon hops off the head and like lands in his lap and like hobbles towards you on two legs.
May I pet you? Like I asked the pigeon.
It bows
like,
its head.
All right, cool. Then I'm touching the pigeon's head.
Mm-hmm.
Do I hear anything?
Oh, you can speak this way. Is this normal?
Considering that I am still new at this myself, I'm not sure what's considered normal. They don't really rate books.
You are a conduit.
Yes, that I know.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, I'm flying.
Flying.
Mm-hmm.
So are you Monsky, the flying?
No, that's Monsky. I'm the flying. Do you want to touch his head too?
Are you so I understand, were you a two-part deity?
No, just friends.
So by friends you mean you are two cosmic creatures, and this is the form you now take on Isai.
Cosmic creatures. That's quite a mouthful. But I guess from your perspective, sure. We lived on the other side of the covering.
Yeah, I don't have any other better phrase than this at this current time.
Works for me.
So the pair of you now inhabit the former Lord Oceanswell and this pigeon.
Well, Lord Oceanswell made a deal with Monsky, and Monsky came and took over, and now Monsky is, I guess, finding people to who are looking for a change, and replacing them, like this pigeon.
Looking for people who want to make a change.
Sure.
So what deal did Lord Oceanswell make with Monsky then?
He wanted the noises to stop.
And Monsky resides in his body now. So has Lord Oceanswell died?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's okay.
The pigeon sort of cocks its head, confused.
So I don't know how much you know about Isaim. But I'm going to try to well, you obviously know about conduits, Lord Oceanswell, as well as many other conduits who didn't realize that they had such a gift and a curse. And not everybody has knowledge like I have knowledge. And so I had imagined that there were a lot of beings like yourselves coming down and making deals, and
This Monsky's very good at facilitating that.
I imagine so, if he's already begun his work and has been doing it for some time. There are more than well, there's a lot now of beings such as yourself, and I'm not going to presume that I know how much power either of you have, but there are some who are here currently and who were here before the covering fell, and they seek to do harm. I also don't presume to know your intentions here. You could just be having a lark.
Flying is more fun with gravity.
I wouldn't know.
You should try it.
The closest I get is to making myself a floating disc when the whim suits me. But is it all right with you if I talk with Monsky now for a bit?
Sure. And the pigeon hops back over to Monsky, and you realize that it puts its wings out, but one of its wings is partially it's fixed, but it's still got the weights on it to sort of make sure to yield straight. And Monsky lifts it up and places it back on his head.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just going to take. This is so weird. Okay. So yeah. So I guess I'm just gonna open with Your companion tells me that you made a deal with Lord Oceanswell, and he no longer resides in the body. You kept the body as part of the deal.
Well, the deal was for the body.
The noises, he wanted the noises to stop, and so
Yes, and offered me his body to do so.
Yes, so you killed him.
Well,
You pushed
Killed
his
is a
consciousness
strong
out
word.
of the body, and he now is in the cosmos, and you are here.
yes. I mean, I left him on the moon.
You left him on the moon.
Yes.
Okay, it's not the weirdest thing that I've heard in the last 6 months.
It was convenient.
Okay. What, if I may be so bold, what is your business here in Racy, and to a lesser or to a greater extent, Isaim?
Finding people who wish to make deals with my friends and then bring my friends here. Then we can all live happily.
I was under the impression that cosmic beings didn't necessarily get along very well in close spaces.
That's certainly been my experience with most of them.
So why then would you decide to bring more here? Is your intent?
I didn't say I was bringing all cosmic beings here, just my friends.
I was under the impression that cosmic beings did not really have friends.
You have friends?
I do.
Do all people that you know have friends?
Yes.
Does anyone that you know not have friends?
I suppose not.
Well, there you go. Just like most cosmic beings don't get along together very well, I have my small little circle of friends and we all get along.
So, okay. Let me re-ask my question in a different way.
Go for it.
Uh,
He looks at you sort of like with a pitying expression, like, sure,
why?
take as much time as you need to figure out this
Yeah.
this concept I'm explaining, you know.
No. So, what I'm trying to get at is why, of all places, is Isaim so attractive to you and your friends? And how many is a small group of friends? And I am only seeking to understand, just because the beings that are already here have ill intent.
Yes, I understand. And you want to protect your planet from ill intent, just as I want to protect my people from ill intent.
Okay, but you still have not answered my question.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I still get distracted. This body doesn't think everything through all the time. Yes, you are not part of the Empire.
The Empire?
Oh,
Are you
that's right.
talking
You've been
about
here
the
for some time.
Tawani
No,
Empire?
There's a whole empire out there.
Someone's just gonna slow blink at this man. He's gonna blink one eye first, then the other, and just go, okay.
And they kill people like us.
Okay.
Just under the assumption that we might do something wrong. And I'm not going to get wrong. I'm not going to get them wrong. Like a number of us have. You know, I don't know if you've met like Decay, but like Decay brought a lot of destruction, wiped out a whole planet. It was a whole thing. Right? And I don't know if you've met, I don't know, some of the others, but like
Decay.
Mm-hmm. So anyway,
do they by any chance have the gift of rot then,
Yes, yes, fire and rot. That's what they do.
Does being in a mortal body dampen your ability to sense the presence of others?
It certainly can, yes. The powers are somewhat limited in some ways, but also more thrilling in other ways, right? Like the flying here, and he starts petting his pigeon, right? She can fly anywhere, but flying for her is just more fun when there's gravity, although less fun when there's rocks. But more fun when there's gravity.
Yes. So, what I'm trying to tell you is I think that you have under the assumption that coming here was a great idea when the covering fell. I'm trying to let you know that there are other beings here already who have malicious intent, and the one that you just mentioned is here in Ray C.
Decay is here?
Yes.
The pigeon just like flaps in alarm.
Yeah. So listen. He or they, I'm not really sure. I've only had the distinct displeasure of meeting someone that they struck a deal with. And I don't know what this means for Racy. And I came to you because I thought that Lord Oceanswell was still residing in his own body and was talking out loud about being able to commune with deities. And I was trying, when I was under the impression that you were still he, that he shouldn't be talking out loud of such things, because that is a good way to get killed. And if you enjoy having the mortal body, then I would suggest to keep mum. And maybe not go about as you are currently doing and try to blend in a little bit better.
Yeah, let's get a follow-up persuasion check. If that's okay.
Yes. I would like to use inspiration for this, if this is okay.
Of course.
Okay, here we go. 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think this guy looks at you with his one big eye and his one small eye and says, Flying, if Decay is here, then is here really a good place to be? I didn't think so either. I think we should leave. Yes. Yes. No. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Before you make your departure,
Yes.
is there a way, since I have given you this information about Decay being here,
Yes.
is there a way for you to tell me how many conduits there are on the planet of Isaim?
And he looks at you, and a calmness comes over his face for a second. He says, Conduits come in different degrees. Different people can be filled to different amounts. Almost any being of free will can make a deal. Conduits can actually serve as a conduit for the power and even make deals on behalf of someone else. In some ways, the understanding on this world is limited. Almost anyone could be a conduit to something. This pigeon, for example, scratches the pigeon, is really just a pigeon. But flying is a minor being, and so a pigeon is enough to hold her. If you're talking about major conduits, people with great power, people like, and he looks at you, and his eyes turn pale green for a second, and then turn back all the way through. No whites, glowing green. He looks at you and says, people like yourself? Maybe 200 on the whole planet?
200 like me.
Tops. And even then, your training, your creativity, that makes you a better target. At your actual level, honestly, maybe 3 or 4. But 200 that are high enough level that you might be concerned of.
Is there anyone that you know of in your, for lack of a better term, neck of the woods? Actually, like, someone's just gonna say, you know what? Never mind. I've gotten what I've wanted. Any other question would be really facetious. I'll get my counsel elsewhere. 200. You said there were 3 or 4 like me?
Probably. That sounds about roughly right. My abilities, I'm not like someone who searches things out and knows. But I feel the tugs of 3 or 4.
Can you tell me if they are in Racy?
One is, besides you.
How far?
I generally feel it coming from, and he starts pointing that direction, and he's pointing at the Capitol building.
Yeah, that would be Decay himself. Themselves.
Well, I do avoid most of my brethren, so I'm not really, equipped to say, but, yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time. I won't keep you any longer because I'm sure the longer you're here, the more. And then Sawin just becomes aware that others are here.
Can you break the spell that you put on me?
Oh, yes. Are you sure you want me to do that? Because that means that you cannot be seen by, and then I point again.
No, it's good for you to do that now because otherwise I can't come back to the. I'm going to put Lord Oceanswell back in the body, but I can't do that if you have.
Oh, so you didn't kill him? You just temporarily displaced him?
I told you I didn't kill him. I put him on the moon.
Okay, so I took that to mean that he was with the Cosmos. I thought you weren't speaking plainly. Well, you were, but I thought you were still speaking nonsense.
My advice to you is never speak plainly.
I try not to. I'm a bard.
Perfect.
Yeah, before I do this, do you mind, because I don't know how much trouble it will be to get Lord Oceanswell to the place I was originally coming to bring him to help with the voices. Do you mind walking with me? And once we get to the place where we are going, I promise you, we are not going to the Capitol building. But
I have no objection. But I have a favor to ask, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he reaches up and grabs the pigeon off his head.
Yes.
And offers it to you.
Mm-hmm.
and says, "Flying has already left, but that doesn't mean this guy doesn't need a little bit of a home. Will you take care of him?
I'll take care of him.
Then, of course, let us walk."
Okay. Cool. When we get to Masha's, I drop it, and then I will drag Ocean Swell inside.
Yeah. And
tell Masha everything, basically.
Yeah, of course. And Ocean Swell comes back, and like the first thing he's like is, "No, I was free. The voices. There's so many voices. They're all talking." So he's panicking a little bit. But Masha anticipated this and has the drink ready. And gives it to him, and he calms down. And we can see the results of that next scene if we want. Let's move on. That was a hefty one. Hey, Thomas, what scene would you like to set up?
Well, I know he and Juno are hanging out a lot, but hopefully if she stopped by the temple to be like, "This is what I'm working on," he would have taken the opportunity to be like, "Yes, excellent, and I need your help with this, so can we meet up later?"
Perfect. So Thomas and Juno are going on a little adventure together?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Going on a research adventure.
Yay! Also, real quick, just to make sure, Juno learned that the person who started the plague was actually a member of the temple, right?
Yeah, it was a party at a temple of it was like a fancy fundraiser for Yemis's temple.
Right. And
they want to add a Dawa extension to the temple, and at that is the first outbreak of plague. But they thought it might be like food poisoning or something like that.
Okay. I was wondering about that. You said Dawa just now, but she was talking to Okatsang, so who's exactly, because there's been a lot of death being bandied around.
No, of course. Sorry, it's an RPG. It happens sometimes. So let's clarify. So what happened, and what Juniper now fully understands, is a member of the Akatsang used the breaking of the covering as an excuse to reach out and make contact with some sort of thing, specifically plague in this case, as you guys know, and made a deal. This member of the Akatsang was so resentful of Yemis and Dawa's merging that they found a dinner party of rich people doing fundraisers for Yemis/Dawa and invoked plague there. One of the guests at this dinner party was from this district, and so went to Akatsang for help.
Okay, gotcha. That's what I was thinking, but I needed to make sure I had that actually right.
No, totally. There's a lot. I named, plate, god, deity, multiple pantheons, different takes on things. People have to understand everything. Yes.
Yes. So Juno will catch him up on that one, and she's also just going to be like, "Hey, so they're going to be meeting with me on Tuesday. Can I borrow Mercury, please?"
You can borrow a Mercury or 3.
Okay, thanks. Because
just let me know how many of him you're going to need.
I mean, if there's one that can just like bite them long enough that I can run if something goes wrong, then I'm good.
Wait, who are we biting?
Person who started the plague. Anyways.
Perhaps we should talk to the group about this.
Yeah, we probably should. But
yeah, we probably should. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know who started it.
Oh, by the way, was it weird over there? It's so fucking weird over there.
It reminded me of college a little bit.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is to be an acolyte, and when you're associating with other acolytes from other temples, just like casually bully whoever you think might be the head priest someday. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I'll keep that in mind, but oh god. So yeah, you know, we know how it started, but I'm not sure if breaking contact with them and I'm just gonna tap the tattoo just a little bit, their friend is going to stop it if it's already in motion. So we should probably still look for a cure of some sort.
Oh, don't worry, I've got a shiny rock. And
Good
I've
for
got
you.
and I've got you, and we're going to find some documents about water sources in this city. Have I mentioned that I love you and you're my absolute favorite foxfolk?
No, but you can say that more if you'd like.
That more if you like. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. I still prefer you to the you on the other guy's body. So, we're
Wonderful in black. Let's go.
okay. So, what are we doing, Thomas?
Hopefully looking up any kind of local city maps or transcripts. Now I'm thinking we should expand to the surrounding area for bodies of water and stuff like that, if that's how it's being transmitted to the farmlands.
Okay, then I think in that case, Juno might take Thomas to the council building, because that's where that information would be. Absolutely. I don't think Mela would keep that at home.
No, not at all. But you know how to do this research. I'll allow an investigation check to ask further questions, but I'm just going to start by giving you a lot of information. So if you'd like to roll an investigation check for me.
Sure. Let's give that a shot. 19.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you see pretty clearly by looking at this and comparing it to sort of your own information that you've been gathering, there is one well that sort of started the whole problem. But there was rain and the well flooded and it's bled over into other places as well, and started expanding from there. There is also, at first that was all fine and bad, and so the plague started expanding sort of naturally that way. But then the problem is that the aqueducts that feed the farmland started using some of the water as well. And that's when we started getting the blight. So you know exactly where the source of this is, but now this blighted water is sort of expansive. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask them.
Gotcha. Trying to think what it would be. Would I be able to tell where the expansion is going? Whether it would end up going into the surrounding countryside?
So the aqueducts are very local. The water, if it's a single water supply that's poisoned, that's a problem. But it's not going to expand outward a lot. It has made its way to the city of Hille, but likely that's because the Shimmering Sea is saltwater, and so people have to carry water with them on long voyages. If they don't have spellcasters who can cast, who can make water of some sort. So that's likely how it got to Hille from your estimation, from what you understand about this disease at this point. Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's going to spread much farther than Racy, despite there being some politicians who are like, "Be afraid, the curse is upon us," or whatever.
Okay. So
scientifically, it seems like it's unlikely to spread further at this point.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm gonna
do something about that, of course. Sorry, just
no. Understandable. So yeah, I'm relaying this to Thomas, and if we can at least get the council of the city to, find a way to block off the wells and transport water from elsewhere until there's a cure. That's a possibility. Or there's the option.
Yeah, Thomas, you would also know that water is not easily, we've got a lot of poverty, and these wells are sort of something that a lot of people are reliant on right now. So
absolutely. Over the table question.
Go for it.
Is there the equivalent of a purify water spell in this universe?
Yes.
Okay.
I assume so. I'd have to double check, but I imagine yes.
It's not something that Thomas has, but I just wanted to verify that it's a thing.
Yeah, let me take a quick look.
That clerics and paladins have, I think. There is
Yeah.
purify food and drink, but I don't know if that covers,
Let's check.
these
They gotta get those
poisoning
electrolytes.
watering holes.
Oh god.
Okay, yeah, so 1 for 1, you can purify 5-foot radius sphere.
Mm.
1 spell slot for 1 5-foot radius sphere. There's no upcast.
May not be enough.
Well, none that we know of. He's going to kind of lean over to Juno and say, do you know what Kazan's mother did with the feather you have the other night? How it kind of improved on what you were trying to do and extended it and made more of it possible.
Uh-huh.
Do you suppose if we found somebody who had the ability to purify water at, I don't know, at some kind of central location like that, something similar could be done with that feather to make it stretch farther?
Maybe. I think I might have to be the one doing the spell, which is the problem.
Or maybe we could find a scroll or something, some way to harness the spell without, I don't know.
No, I mean that makes sense. But there's even magic that's alternative to what we know. We've got Masha. Masha has a different style of magic altogether.
Is anyone else really alarmed at the rate at which we're all going in hock to Masha Seaswan, or is that just me? Does she charge interest? What exactly is happening here?
I don't know. I like her.
I'm sure she's fine, but I mean, she runs a business and...
Yeah, but she's just a softie.
Is she?
You're talking to Juno. Juno's only frame of reference so far. Keep in mind. Yeah, no, I mean, she's really nice. Like, she's actually really sweet deep down.
Sure.
Like, just deep, 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 deep down,
I don't have that kind of time.
Well, it's there. But that's definitely a possibility. But, there's probably, alternative forms of magic then. I mean, she uses things like herbcraft and herb lore. They're the type of magic that we know of is magic is flexible, it's adaptable. Maybe there are whole schools of it we don't know about yet that other people know. I don't know. This is just something I've been thinking about a lot. I've written a lot of notes in this.
No, that's all right. That's literally why I wanted you to come with me to do this.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, we could do that. We could also talk to Sawin. Sawin might know somebody who's good at healing.
I don't feel like any of us should be getting possessed by the god of electrolytes.
I'm just gonna slap him.
I'm sorry, I didn't say the C word.
No, I'm gonna slap him, and then I'm gonna cast god dang
what are you going to cast?
Private Sanctum.
Counterspell.
Private Sanctum!
He thinks that they're playing, and 2, she has enough spell slots. It'll be fine.
She's gonna slap him again. No, she's not gonna physically hurt him. She's gonna just
why won't you listen, old man?
Capital builder. She's just gonna she's when she says that, she's going to cast fucking sending on him at the same time while staring him dead in the eyes. So she says it, and then he also hears it in his head. We are in the Capitol building, and then she's gonna cast Private Sanctum again.
He flounces into the Private Sanctum.
And she's gonna flounce in after him. And
we're in the Capitol building.
Yeah, And it's in such a way where people can see them and stuff, but they won't be detected. Yeah, and so she's just like, I have the brain cell today. So
that's why I invited you.
Okay. Great. Yeah, so I can definitely give that a try. We can see if we can expand the cell, but we have to also keep in mind that this is literal plague that is their hand is in this.
Which is why I'm thinking if we go up against them personally, we might not win. So therefore,
or I'm meeting with their avatar on Tuesday. We can set a trap for them, and maybe Samhain can, I don't know, do something. I could cast Intellect Fortress on them real quick, and then maybe that will help weaken them enough that we can just knock them out and put them in a cave somewhere with no water.
Oh my god.
I mean, they'll have wine or something. We'll have something for them to eat and drink.
You're going to
just keep them
to death?
We could just, they won't be dehydrated. We could just keep them as far away from civilization as possible.
Dehydrated.
Okay, trying.
I understand where you're coming from. Cruel and unusual is a thing. So jot that down.
Okay, all right. So we might have to kill them then.
Okay.
Keep that in mind. I don't know how I feel about suggesting that to a priest because I know that you're a holy man and
yes,
you don't kill people, but she doesn't know what he had done. But that may be something that we have to do because I mean I could potentially separate her from her god, but I can only maybe do that ritual once, and we might have a friend who needs that more.
I literally just met with an incredibly powerful druid and asked them to leave town immediately. I don't know what's wrong with me some days.
God dang it. That's okay. We'll find a way. I mean, wait, pirates.
I know of knowing pirates.
Yeah. So don't they have a way of purifying water on their ships? Why don't you call your pirate friend?
It's called you buy a lot of water before you get on the ship.
But wouldn't it be more practical and efficient to have a person who can cast the spell? What if they have someone who can cast the spell?
I've got a shopkeep to introduce you to, first of all.
No, but what if they can? Why don't we talk to your pirate friends?
I mean, I feel like we could just ask any sailor.
Yeah, but your pirate friends know you, and we don't have to make any weird deals with people because they're your friends. Yeah, it's your daughter and her buds. Is that what you call it?
I wouldn't know.
Well, you could ask. I think pirates might be an option. If anybody knows how to purify water, they probably would. But I will look into other forms of magic.
If you were anyone else, I'd say you just want to know what it's like to have sex on the moon, but it's you, so I'm going to try to take you seriously.
Yeah, I really don't want to know about that. That's the last thing I want to know about. Sorry.
The only thing saving this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is also definitely not 100% at all about, getting to know your friend, Fabian. I just think that maybe that he or your daughter might have some insight in this. And this is the weakest deception that she's ever done in her life.
I mean, I honestly feel like they're going to ask me, why couldn't you ask someone else? But
we'll look for other people too. But I just think we should hold the pirates in reserve.
Well, I mean, I could talk to a psionic. They're liaising with the temples right now, and they're supposed to be confidential. Knock on wood. But I haven't heard from Fabian since everything happened, and I'm not really sure. Are you sure this spell is secure? I know I kind of poofed it, but you had a point. We are in the middle of the capital right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, the spell is secure, but I mean, there is, there are people around us right now who, like, I probably like 70% of them.
Can we still see them?
Mind Mela being dead. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can see them. They can see us.
Is anyone staring at us?
Saying.
Is
No.
anyone like? No.
We're in an office, aren't we? we're literally in like the little side place where I work. I think. Like I have a little.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. No, people can see you, but like they don't have any idea what's going on, and they don't notice. It's like a spell of what do you call it? Like a inability to pay attention. So like even if they look at you or see you guys acting weirdly, they'll forget about it and move on.
It's ADHD on demand.
Oh my god, Sarah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think we might need to talk to Sawin. I don't know if we can talk to Kaz about this.
Well, we've got plans to talk to Fish EMS regardless, and I would ask them, but I mean, this is a freshwater matter. I wasn't sure if they'd have anything to say about it.
Well, they're about community, and this is affecting the community, so maybe.
This is true. Jot another one down on the list to ask Fish EMS.
Okay, Fish EMS, I'm going to do my research into potential other forms of magic. You don't think foxfolk have different forms of magic, do you?
You're asking
I mean, they're
the
all
wrong
in nature.
person. I mean, do you feel a close relationship with nature?
Not really. But I mean, they live
Your name is
pretty
Juniper.
isolated community. Look, I was found in a bush. It's the thing. Juniper was there. Anyways.
Cool. And somebody just named you because it was a juniper bush.
Well, no, I named myself because it's a pretty name, and that was where I was found. And
it is a pretty name.
Yeah, exactly.
My apologies.
But
I didn't mean to get into anything.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But aside from that, I don't think I'm very connected with nature. But I mean, as a community, they seem to be kind of insular. So maybe there's some things that they know that other people don't, and maybe I can have I don't know. I'll look into it.
So you're going to try to find some foxfolk?
Maybe. It's a possibility. Could expand my magical repertoire.
Noted.
But yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think we should definitely tell Sawin this. Was there anything else we needed to do while we were here? Because I feel really weird being with the priest of Tamden in my sort of office, which is probably like a closet.
I don't know why you would feel awkward in this situation. He's just like stealing pens and like stuffing them into his robes.
Can she see him do this?
Roll sleight of hand, I guess.
I mean, I'm not trying to hide it.
Okay, never mind then.
Okay. She's just gonna look at him and be like, I am stealing all of your pens when I have tea with you next.
No, you're stealing all of your pens.
Has Mercury like infected your mind somehow? Are you and she's just gonna like kind of like touch his face and stand on tiptoes.
None of that.
And be
you
like,
hear Mercury's
are you
voice in your head. Hey, I resent that. I would never steal a pen.
But you would steal a fish.
Are you offering a fish?
But would it be tuna fish?
I don't have one right now.
Well,
you know what?
No.
And she's just gonna squish your cheeks together for about a second, just out of judgment. Just out of judgment. Be like, well, nope. It's every second for every single pen that you stole. And then she'll let go and be like, you're not allowed to steal anymore from my office, from my closet office.
Noted.
My office.
He takes her succulent off the desk.
No.
Time to go.
Look, I said I'm not connected with nature. That's the only thing that I can keep alive.
Pro tip, don't get a desk fish.
What? So she's gonna follow after him, but very, very distraught, and she'll dispel her
Yeah.
magic and storm after him, trying to grab the succulent.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. So where are you two headed? What's the plan?
Well, I have something that I would like for him to try to do.
Okay, let's go for it.
Do you know if you want to go to the temple, that's cool, or not, but that's where Thomas is headed.
I need my succulent.
He'll
So
give
yes.
He'll give it back to you in a few minutes. It wants to be in the sunlight.
Yeah, she's falling.
Probably. I don't know anything about plants. Probably it does.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah,
I could not tell you if it would die or survive. My bad.
Just keep in mind
This is
that
a resident
as
plant
he's-
expert. She can tell us about succulents and whether they would
Yeah.
survive. But for either way, we're going to move forward. So, Thomas, where are you headed? What are you doing? What's
Back
your
to
goal?
the Temple of Tamden.
And are you following lockstep behind, or are you doing something else, Juniper?
I'm just following right behind him.
Excellent. You are back at the Temple of Tamden. What's going on?
Okay. He's going to surrender the succulent into Juno's custody
Mm-hmm.
by placing it on his desk and leaving it there.
Mm-hmm. Takes it.
And he is. It's probably bad that I still don't know exactly. I should have probably had like a giant spreadsheet with like what all of like the rights to Tamden entail and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he's going to. I feel like sacrifice isn't really as much of a thing,
Mhm.
but I feel like he's going to try to do a special prayer or something to actually try to see if he can communicate with Tamden now that the gods are like back on sonar.
Mhm.
To ask
Yeah.
for guidance about this, which is going to be interesting because he may be a warlock, but at least he's not a cleric at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So do you have a spell that's helping you do this, or is this just a ritual that you're reaching out with?
I don't think he does. I think he's just kind of falling back on faith in the knowledge that the gods can hear people now, or the gods as they exist to an extent, and that people know them. Let's see what I've got. Fly is not going to help.
Okay, then why don't you just describe this ritual to me?
Okay. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can try something. He's gonna write a letter to Fantasy Jesus. He's going to try to employ God of
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, sorry. He's going to try to employ the Galder's Speedy Courier spell.
Okay.
To kind of write down, I think, just a question and try to cast that spell during like the rites that he would normally say, like, which would probably look something like walking into the pool and some meditation, and there's probably some bowls involved that are melodic.
Mm-hmm. So what's the question that you read?
I think it's going to be something like can plague in the city be dispelled? Just something super simple. And he's not expecting an answer back because, again, that's not how the spell works, but he's hoping to kind of just give the prayers that he's already doing an extra bit of juice. Yep.
Okay. As you are praying, one of the bowls that is being rung
right now. Somehow its pitch changes. It like the water in the bowl as it floats around the pool just starts shifting, and it goes wah, wah, wah. And when it stops, the sound that these bowls are making is more in tune than you've ever heard before. It's a moment of clarity. We've got this pool of water with these bowls inside of it bouncing around in this slow circle, each one with their own water in it. And every time they bump into each other, a little ting dong, ting dong. But there's enough of them that it's an almost constant aura of just quiet but rich reverberation. And for some reason, your ear is drawn to that sound. And you look in the pool for the bowl that caused that sound. And you see that it is empty. There's no water in it. It's totally dry. And inside of it is a small folded piece of paper.
All right, he's going to take the paper and unfold it.
There are two sides to the paper. On one side, it says, "Power must be confronted." And on the other side, it says, "The sins of the past cast long shadows."
He finishes the ritual with prayers of gratitude and the way that, he would normally serenely wrap everything up. And
we can leave you there if you'd like.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, yeah.
Okay. Salwin, how you doing?
We're in the middle of Masha's trying to calm down a noble who gave away his wealth a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting situation. So you get him to drink the potion. And he looks around and he says, "They've stopped. Did Munsky keep his deal? They've stopped. I thought for a second he had failed."
No. Yes and no. So Munsky realized that there was a sibling here that he did not wish to meet again. As a result, your little staycation on the moon was brought to a close. However, there are things that are happening, and as a result of things happening, I specifically sought you out because you and I share the same condition. You and I both hear the voices.
You hear them too?
Yes.
They're real.
Yes, they are real. You see, the world does not take very kindly to people with gifts like ours. There's not a lot that's known, and what little I do know is one that I've had to cobble together for myself.
Yeah. I would call it more of a curse than a gift.
It is a gift in that we are able to understand the universe on a different level than the rest of our global peers. But you're right, it is also it's a gift and a curse. And because this is something that not everybody, so everybody has the potential to hear these voices. It's just that some of us are more gifted than others. You are like me. We hear them more, I guess. But it can be a problem because should someone like you or I make a deal with someone, a cosmic being that has not so great intentions for Isaim, then that's the end of that.
I picked
So
one because
you,
it seemed nice.
yeah, a lot of them seem nice. A lot of them make promises, great promises, but those promises come with a cost. A favor given is a favor owed, basically.
Masha
And-
smiles from the background as you say that. Yes.
And my colleague, and he looks at Masha, has the ability to keep the voices to a minimum with the drink that we gave you this evening.
I see. Is it? And he pauses for a second, knowing the answer already. Is it permanent?
You have, at this point in time, no.
Okay. How often must I come here for this?
Every week. The reason we can hear the voices constantly now, whereas you probably haven't heard them before, is because the covering is gone. The covering was something that was like, so someone like looks at Masha and goes, was something that was put in place by the Kava to protect Isaim from being seen by the cosmic beings. And a month ago, the covering was torn away, hence the noise, where it's like 1,000 upon thousands of shattering music boxes.
It's been a month. That
month.
was the light in the sky,
Yes,
and that was a month ago.
that was a month ago.
Great. Sorry, time wibbly wobbly.
I would imagine so if you were on the moon. So, with that being said, there are people who know, because Monsky was rather quite careless in your body during his time here. There are people, so it's not to be spoken of like being a conduit. It's, you don't want people to know that you are one.
I see. You. Pardon me if I'm overstepping. But I have to ask: do you or you, lady, have any need of an assistant or something? I'm not exactly comfortable being on my own entirely. I would appreciate if there was a posting or a position that I could earn my keep to some degree, just for a little while, so I'm not tempted.
So Someone's going to look at Masha, and does she like make a nod or anything like that?
I think she looks at you and like her first thought is, you rescued him, you have dibs, but if you don't, then I'll take him. Like, okay. That's sort of what she communicates with that look.
Okay. What talents do you have? I know that you were of, that you before you went away, that you were of standing in the community as a noble. Are there skills that you have, what talents do you have or skills that you have? Because I would personally prefer to keep an eye on you as opposed to no. And then Sawan goes, no ill will towards my companion here who's made you your brew, but I need to teach you how to at least do some of the things that I am able to do to protect myself.
Yes, of course. I mean, truth be told, I don't have much in the way of practical skills, but I'm accustomed to hard work and willing to learn. I was the Minister of Trade before the Primarch took over. I resigned in protest. So I don't. That's not exactly a skill that one can have, but it is a skill that I have.
In trade, as in okay, clarifying question, commerce?
Yeah, commerce. He was the Minister of Trade, which meant commerce and really large scale international commerce, and doing negotiations and treaties. This guy, Lord Oceanswell, that I honestly thought there was no chance you were going to bring him back, but you found a way to bring him back, is one of the architects of the Grand Accord.
Yeah, I think I will have great use for the talents that you possessed in your former life. There are so he just said he resigned out of protest because of the Primarch.
Yeah, he felt strongly that the way that the laws was written was badly designed, and as a result, there should be a replacement election rather than granting it to the Vice Primarch.
Yeah, so how it goes. Yeah, so yeah, fortune, smiling face. This is so good. Yeah, so Sawan says, well, I think with how busy Sawan is on this art council, is it out of the realm to have an assistant to manage my... Cool. Yeah, so he's gonna be my assistant on the books and off the books.
Yeah,
he's going to do some other work for me.
Sounds good to me. So I think we'll end here with a brief montage, if that's okay. He basically is uncomfortable going back to his former life. He didn't really have a lot of attachments. Basically, he burned a lot of bridges on a personal level. Basically, but for a lot of reasons, some of them which you would agree with, and some of them which are more like self-sabotaging behavior. A little bit. He's going down, so his response to going down is to screw you, everyone, even if people are trying to be nice to him and help him. So he's gonna sort of try to forge a new identity for himself a little bit right now, and just reinvent himself as your assistant. Not if that's okay with you. That's what he would like. If you would like him to be Lord Oceanswell, your assistant, that's fine too. But
I think what I would like for him to do is Saul would be totally fine with him reinventing himself as my assistant for the art council, but I think that Sawin does have a keen interest in his particular skill set with international trade. And Sawin is going, like, I feel a little dirty saying this, but under the guise of giving him the help that he needs to deal with the voices and like mental fortitude, Sawin's going to encourage him to reconstruct the bridges that he burnt as far as like trade is concerned.
Yeah, roll a persuasion check.
Yeah. I spent my advantage earlier. It is fine. Why is roll 20 not opening my character sheet?
Probably because it's open but hidden right now. Minimized.
Oh. I popped it out. Okay, alright, here we go. Persuasion check on normal. How'd that go for me?
18. Nice. Yeah. So he agrees to this, and is gonna try to do it as best he can. He's more comfortable with the international relations than he is opening up conversations with the international relations than the local relations that he burned. So he's more comfortable reaching out to Prian and Abarak and Sunera than he is to the local Chalestria nobles. But he'll do it if you apply pressure.
International is exactly what I wanted.
Well, there you go. And I'm going to end on just a moment of realization and a moment in common between you two. This is, without a doubt, someone who would have worked rather closely with Panor and Hallwork. For those of you watching who don't know, someone's best friend who died a while ago, and someone's reason for being here, and all that good stuff. And I think with that, if that's an okay place, I think that's where we will stop for tonight. If that's all right with everyone. Cool. A couple of great scenes in there, guys. That was a lot of fun. Let's toss out some experience points. We kind of missed last week for reasons that don't matter, but I'm just going to plow ahead and pretend that we didn't. And I'm going to double the amount of experience points we got this week. And again, we're doing this now communally as well. So
we're doing it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're just going to see what that amounts to. And I'm just going to give you double experience points for this week again. To make up for the fact that we missed experience last week. And I apologize. And all that good stuff. But that's I think what the best thing to do is. So, step 1, did you learn something about Primarch Magli Blackice and his followers?
I would like to say so.
You would like to say so. Excellent. Well, in that case, normally that would be 1 experience point, but I'm going to give you guys 2. Okay. Follow-up. What is follow-up? Did you express your character's class, species, or background in a meaningful or impactful way? Feel free to nominate other people.
I mean,
Anyone?
Well, Thomas showed his background in a meaningful way through praying to Tamden, for sure.
I strongly agree. Do you agree, Thomas?
yes.
Excellent. Well, let's give you some experience points for that then.
Samhain was definitely on the conduit angle this week, so I don't know if that's technically his class or his background.
I think it applies. I'm comfortable saying that applies. Are you comfortable saying that applies, Jess?
Yes.
Excellent. And I will give experience points for that. Anyone want to nominate Juniper?
Juno.
If not,
I feel like what Juno did this week was definitely I feel like it wasn't like class related necessarily because she's trying to like be like playing her cards more closer to her chest and try to do more like diplomatizing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, and like being more this like doing spy related stuff.
That is definitely true. I would though like to just point out or suggest the possibility, Juniper. How much has Faye? How much has Juniper really ever talked about thinking about communicating with other foxfolk?
That was like the one thing I was gonna say.
Yeah, not much at all actually. Last time someone brought it up to her, she was like, "Nope, we're not having that conversation."
Yeah. Do you feel like that is significant in this way?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's toss some experience points there as well. Again, I'm doubling everything. Okay. Did you overcome a meaningful obstacle or impediment to your character? And let's start with Sawan/Jess.
I think it was definitely an obstacle for him to like specifically seek out Lord Oceanswell and get through that whole conversation and be able to bring him back successfully without pissing off the cosmic deity.
By the way, that was not something that I was exactly expecting to occur. That's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. Thomas.
I would say that, and it's kind of peculiar for him because he is very much defined by his faith in Tamden. And I think that he thinks that his patron is aware of that as well and wouldn't begrudge him for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he probably could have talked to his patron about like, okay, well, do we think like this plague entity can be defeated and blah, blah, blah. And he was probably a little nervous about improvising the way he did and actually trying to actively communicate with his god because, again, just because the covering's down, apparently some other gods are dead, so he might not have gotten any response. And he was probably a little concerned about what exactly was going to happen, but he kind of decided it was worth the risk.
Works for me. And Faye playing Juniper, did you overcome a obstacle?
Well, she finally made a dangerous deal with someone.
Sure.
I would say using her connections to Thomas and to Stepwise in that way.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't really used them for her own gain before, so I think that would have been the big thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you work towards or accomplish your belief? If you worked towards your belief this week, you're getting 2 points, and if you accomplished your belief, you're getting 4 points this week. So high on the points thing. Let's start with Juniper.
I think I accomplished it because I wanted to know where it started. Now I know.
Damn, you got it. Done. 4 points. Beautiful. Sarah.
Similarly, Thomas reached out to Juniper and got her help in researching water sources in the city and ways they could be connected to the plague.
There you go. Bam. 4 more points. Take it. And that brings us to Solon and Jess.
I'm going to talk this through because I don't know how much of it I was able to accomplish today and how much of it, because I feel like the belief I came up with today was definitely one that does have a short-term end goal and definitely a longer-term end goal.
Mm-hmm.
So what I accomplished today was I found out how many conduits there are on Isaim by having that conversation, and then how many of them have my ability on Isaim, and I'm currently talking to one of the 200 of however much potential this man actually has.
Yeah.
So, I guess I have the 2-point option as opposed.
Yeah,
to
I'm actually, so this is just my opinion, but a very common trope that we see in story writing, which I think works pretty well, is like when you're trying to recruit a certain number of people to accomplish something or doing a huge task, right? We show like in detail that first attempt, right? And we call that like a major story accomplishment. And then the next thing that we see is like it growing by huge amounts. We don't see each attempt, right? But we see that first one in detail. So from my perspective, I would say that like you accomplished the first major step in this mission. So that's how I would interpret it. But if you would rather say that it's not as major a step, or if you feel like there's more to be done that makes this feel more minor to you, that's fine by me as well. I think it's your call.
Yeah, I think that this is. Yeah, I think I'm okay with taking like 2 points for this as opposed to 4.
Okay. Sounds good to me. That means you guys are at 26 experience points, which is pretty good. And again, we're saying that we're communalizing it. We're going to try, and I think we've decided that 40 is the number that we're shooting for a level, and we'll group level from here. Does that still feel good to everyone?
Yeah.
It was sort of brought up, and we discussed it briefly, but then we actually didn't discuss it fully, really. And then we just started playing, and then I sort of assumed that we were doing it, and then I forgot that we didn't discuss it fully. We can discuss this off stream too. I apologize. I shouldn't put everyone on the spot. My bad. Well, anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had a good time. Please take care of yourself and those around you that you possibly can. It's important to do your best to take care of others, but also take care of yourself. I think that's an important thing as well. And I wish you all the best of all possible worlds. And as always, I leave you with the best advice I can give you, which is don't forget to call your cat and feed your mom.